All right, well, this is going to be nice. Boston Bruins win, and we get to do a morning brew with Jaffe and Razor after a win. It's been a little while, it feels like. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. As always, Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee. Go to fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew. Check out all the great stuff they've got there, including the Morning Brew blend. And if you are a wholesaler, if you have a place like a market, or if you've got a cafe, a bakery, a restaurant, Fazenda can provide you with top quality coffee through their wholesale program. Go shop direct at fazendacoffee.com. And this is a place that, you know, if you have a business or any type wholesale retail, you want to partner with them. Great customer service, great quality products. And if you're just an at-home coffee lover, then just go to fazendacoffee.com and check it out. Razor, Bruins win over the Tampa Bay Lightning in an entertaining game. Too long of a game. That's the only complaint that I have on that one, partner.
I'll really complain on that one. You know me. That was brutal. Holy cow. I was dying.
I'll bet. The over-under on yawns tonight is what after that one? 6?
Yeah. It could have been.
We could have a razor yawn count.
I literally didn't get a nap in today. I was up at 5 this morning. It was just it's one of those ones where you want it to end quick and it just dragged. And then the press conference after dragged, like the whole thing. Like I just got home at the same time you did. It was crazy.
Oh my God. We were on the air. Normally we get off the air at what? 10:30 or so?
Yeah.
10:20 something, 10:30, maybe 10:35, and we run home to sit down and record this. And this was like, oh my God, the clock just kept going and going. It was 10:59 now, and I'm getting off the air and I'm running to get out of there. But all good because they won over the Tampa Bay Lightning again, 6-2. A game that featured a lot of everything. Where do we start with this one though? Because do we start with what we found out in the morning?
Yeah.
Do we start with, is that where we want to go? I mean, this was a tiring day, not just for you and me, but for the PR people, communications people.
Actually, I shouldn't just lead to that because I always go chronologically, but I've been learning from you on TV that you don't always go that way. So maybe it's better to leave that to the end, the storyline there.
Okay, we can do that. This was, let's do this. Let's just set the stage in case some of our listeners, viewers, I mean, I'm sure they know about the fact that Charlie McAvoy wasn't playing. If they're listening to us or watching us, there's a really good chance, Razor, they know the news that Charlie McAvoy placed on an injured reserve, effective through Saturday. So he could, in theory, be back. No idea if he's going to or not, but based on an upper body injury. How do I know it's an upper body injury? Because he skated hard in the morning. And so it's obviously not a lower body injury. It's some type of an upper body injury. He's out. All right. With that said, the Bruins enter in this game without McAvoy, obviously already without Hampus Lindholm. Still no Mark Kastelik. He's out of the lineup, and they didn't know if Charlie Coyle was going to play. So we'll get to all the actual the injury stuff with McAvoy later. But they're going into a game against Tampa that had all the makings of an emotional, physical game. And I think it played out to that, Razor. But how would the Bruins respond without a Charlie McAvoy there? How would they respond without others as well, without Mark Kastelik in the lineup? And I'll just say I thought they did pretty damn well in that regard. I thought we saw the all-for-one, one-for-all attitude.
We certainly did. Everyone stepped up. I thought Andrew Peeke played a great game again. I thought, he's been super steady Eddie, but he elevated tonight. On top of everyone else on the back end. So, and then of course the centermen and the forwards, they did their extra part as well early on defensively. So certainly a great effort all around and a hard fought win.
All right. So let's start with the start, because with all of the news and by the way, we didn't even mention Matt Poitras recalled. Michael Callahan getting his first ever NHL game, defenseman in the lineup. He's in for Jordan Osterley, who didn't play in this one. It turned out Coyle did end up playing, even though he was fighting
he's got to keep
something.
that streak going.
He's got to keep the streak going. And, sometimes when we were talking about it with Brick and the Pre, and it's just true. I mean, sometimes you actually do play better when you're under the weather a bit. It's a mindset thing. It's just a focus thing. It's a straight line game, simple, because you can't extend yourself too much. And maybe Charlie went through that in this one.
The other thing is you end up feeling better because of it too. Like, I'm going to feel awful no matter what I do. So why don't I get off the couch and feel awful at the rink? So that's the mentality a lot of times too. I'm just going to get over this quicker if I get this, just do
Sweat it out, get going,
just
get your
go.
Body going. Either that or infect everybody else.
Yeah, well, of course, that's always the stay away from me guy. But if it's real bad, the guys are already going to get it, or
right.
It's not.
Dude, there's so much stuff going on out there, right?
Banana land out there.
It is nuts, right? Yeah. It is just crazy. So hopefully it doesn't spread, but a lot of teams have been battling stuff, a litany of things. But anyways, Coyle ends up playing. He plays over 19 minutes in this one, so he brought it. All right, let's talk about the start, because key to this game was, were the Bruins going to be ready for in what was a Tampa Bay Lightning team that, when I say took it to them in Tampa, remember, it was a pretty good game for a while with the Bruins until they gave up the shorty and everything, and then they got away from them a bit. But the Bruins came out with purpose. They came out with intensity. It wasn't over the top crazy physicality, Razor, but what it was, what I thought was very determined play. They end up getting a goal at 4:24 into the first period, is after a good back check by Charlie Coyle. He helps set things up. Matty Poitras goes back up the ice the other way down the right wing side. Really showed, I thought, some good acceleration, some really, really good speed. The Tampa defender, it had been Hedman who whiffed on the puck originally, which you don't see often. It goes back the other way, and then it's Poitras who gets the puck inside that right circle and makes a beautiful pass underneath the heel of this goaltender Vasilevsky's stick, as Poitras goes from the right to the left, and Trent Frederick puts the goal in his 7th of the season on the far post. It was a really good way to start the game. Everybody's involved. The crowd's going. I thought it was instrumental to this game for the Bruins.
It was. We haven't seen it enough. Because that's been the recipe, especially at the Garden, and they have a good home record. I don't mean at home, but I mean just in general, scoring early. They haven't done enough of it, and they haven't sustained it enough, and that's what they did really well tonight. And of course, Poitras' first game back, and Frederick and Estrella, like, it just all lined up really well, and it just got better in the first, how it lined up and this entire game on the guys who got points and who scored, but Poitras' assist led the way in that.
Had to feel great for him, obviously, coming back up. He had 20 points in 23 games, if I remember correctly, down in the A, which
that's
was
correct. Yep.
Very positive, obvious. And it got better. It started a little slow point production-wise, but they got better and better as he was down there. He looks good. I think he's got to be in better shape. He's playing, 16, 18 minutes a game down there, touching the puck more. So that was a really good play. And it was great for Frederick, even though, as he said post-game, he had the easy part, but still, he had to get involved. And speaking of getting involved, we'll talk about his scrap a little bit later. So 1-0 at that point. About 5 minutes later, Razor ends up being Parker Wotherspoon's first ever goal, not just as a Bruin, but in the National Hockey League. He's not an offensive-minded defenseman. However, it had to have been frustrating for him. It ends up being a pass from David Pastrnak from the right side over to the left side. Well, I don't remember if it was inside the face-off dot, but basically left side. After Pavel Zacha did a nice play as well to come through the middle, and then kind of sifts through the side on this 3-on-2. And the Tampa Bay Lightning couldn't decipher quickly enough. They couldn't get to Wotherspoon, who comes in from the left side, and he roofs one short side over the blocker of Andrei Vasilevsky. It was a heck of a shot, I thought.
It was a beauty to get your first one. That's what you want that video to look like. And getting a pass from Pasta and past Vasilevsky, 2 Hall of Famers probably in the mix on both of those sides of the goal. So that'll be a great video for him, a great picture for him for his life. And it was a great shot and a great play, and real timely as well. Again, the stepping up without McAvoy, without your 2 best defensemen, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is a challenge, and those guys took it, and for Wotherspoon to chip in offensively, it was great timing, but off of a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, and Tampa had started to get some opportunities themselves in that first period. Shots ended up 9-6 in favor of Tampa in that period. But the Bruins, again, they didn't seem to bend much in the first. They did a nice job. Again, Swayman with some good saves in the first. He gets better as the game goes on, and we will touch on that too. So it's 2-0 at the end of the first period. And then just about, I think it was the second shift of the second period, 1:13 mark to be exact. It ends up being Brad Marchand who ends up getting his 16th from the left side, an absolute rocket of a shot. I'm going to ask you something about Vasilevsky on that one in just a moment, but it started actually at the other end of the ice, where Hedman comes down and gets an opportunity on the left side. And just like kind of nubbing the shot in the first period, he misses the net completely on that one from the left side. And he's maybe 18, 20 feet from the goal, and it rims out, and the Bruins end up getting the break the other way. And it's Pastrnak getting it up to Marchand. So Pasta 2 assists in a period in 21 minutes. And Marchand's shot, Razor, from the left side, classic Marshy. He loads up on that left leg and just snipes it. It almost seemed like this is not criticism. This is more of a question than anything, but Vasilevsky's glove seemed low there. Is that just his set? I mean, Marshy Vasilevsky never even moved the glove there. I mean, Marshy's shot was beautiful, but did he kind of overplay that a little bit on that one to his right?
He went to his blocker too. He moved to his blocker. I thought maybe it would have hit the D-man skate or something initially, just the way the Vasilevsky moved, but it wasn't that. So either he didn't track it in any way whatsoever, didn't read the release and just kind of guessed short side, or was blocked out by the defenseman sliding over and just didn't see the puck move. But somehow he didn't even see it, didn't react, didn't expect it there. So, but again, I don't really know why. It was weird. It was odd. It was like
I sent you a text after the first period from the Nesson booth. It's jammed tonight, by the way. Tons of people there. A lot of wasabi people up there. It was jammed. A lot of fun. Yeah. A lot of energy. It was good. Anyway, in the first period, it was Perbix who slid over towards Poitras, and you were good with that. I asked you, I'm not as much a fan of that, but I'll get in a second here. I don't remember who it was in the second period. I don't know if it wasn't Lilleberg. I can tell you that. It might have been Radish. I don't remember who slid over on that one. Where are you at from a goalie? That's not blocking shots so much as that's sliding into an area. I mean, obviously, Vasilevsky must be okay with it because this is something, and talking to their coach, this is something that they do more regular, I think, than maybe other teams. Because there are some coaches, by the way, that don't ever want their D leaving their feet. Where are you at on this?
Yeah, I liked it when guys did, because I knew then I knew exactly where the play was going to go. If you take the right angle, and if guys are good enough and guys get good, if they can take that angle and make the pass go up in the air, just elevate that just a little bit, that means it's not as hard across. Or in the case of Poitras' play, I thought that was a really good play. Vasilevsky just missed the poke. He knew it was going to be a pass across. He was ready for it to be a pass across. It was nice and deep, so there wasn't a lot of angle. There was no shot option. They were all over it, the two of them, and they just missed. So that's a perfect example, actually, of why I would like that guy to slide and force just a little bit wider out rather than cutting to the middle. I never liked it when that guy had the opportunity to pull to the middle of the ice. That just made it so much harder for me. I'd rather force him to the outside. If the pass goes across from the outside, that's mine. I got to go get it.
Okay. Well, and the Marchand shot, it wasn't so much that he had somebody streaking to the far post, if I remember the play correctly. But I think the D-man was trying to just go over there to try to, I guess, thwart the opportunity, but he elevated it quickly. I thought it was a gorgeous shot. And it was in and out of the net in a millisecond.
Yeah. It's a rocket.
It was a rocket. Okay. So that's Marchand's 16th of the season. Again, Pastrnak with the assist. So now it's 3-0 at that time. 5 minutes later or so, David Pasternak's going to get his 20th goal of the season. This is going to come off of a beautiful play from Andrew Peeke, who, as I said, he kind of looked like Sergei Zubov almost there, bringing the puck up the ice on the left side through the neutral zone. He slaloms in. He cuts from the left to the middle, and he kind of gets – I'm actually surprised that Tampa allowed him to enter into that area as much as they did. But then he ends up making what I thought was a really heady play. It was a shot with purpose from – was it 40 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet, regardless, but it ends up being high. And Vasilevsky goes off his right shoulder. Because it's that high, Razor, he can't cleanly control the rebound. If it's 3 inches, 6 inches lower, I think it probably deadens into his chest there. But when it doesn't, Zacha comes in to the middle of the ice, swoops it up and on his forehand, then passes over to a player in Pastrnak who's on his offside, the left side. Meanwhile, Pasta had fallen down. He had slipped, fell down right before that, fortuitously gets up almost like perfect. You couldn't time it any more perfect. He gets it. He one-times it in for a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, David's getting hot when that happens, right? Like of all the nights we've talked about him, 7, 8 shots, nothing going in. Well, okay, this is hockey gods and evening out and shooting percentage, getting back to means. It's plays like that start building through the end of the season. So now he's got 7 goals in the last 6 games. And here we go. He's got 20. Now he'll get 40, right? Like it's what he does. And that was, that's what I took from that goal tonight. It's like, wow, he all season long, he's had a perfect empty net goal and he's fallen and fell to the corner the wrong way. Now it's going right to him. Even more fortuitously like that. That's the crazy, as good as it gets for a goal scorer and for Zacha as well.
Yeah, and what I take out of that too is that Pavel Zacha, the chemistry with David and Pavel is obviously very high level. Pastrnak is in that area. It's not that Zacha wasn't looking, but he knew he was there, and he knew that if he got it, which he did, his first thought was to move it because he understood that David, being on his offside too, could rip it, and so there's that connection. And while it makes it looks easy at times, or they make it look easy at times, it's not. That's chemistry right there. And so that is what came out of it. So again, his 20th goal of the season at 6:05. Now, again, Tampa started putting the puck on net in the second period. In fact, they ended up with 20 shots in the second period. They started to get opportunities, even later in the first, where they utilize the defensemen well. They get shots through. They have a lot of good tips. I thought their forwards took good routes to the net, in addition to the defensemen getting pucks through. It's going to be a face-off at the 8:50 mark. The puck ends up going back to the point, and then Connor Geekie from Victor Hedman. Connor Geekie. I saw for a minute. I said Morgan's. All right, Connor Geekie, Morgan's brother, ends up getting the tip coming from the left face-off circle in, and it was a beautiful tip. Hedman with the assist, Radish as well at the 8:50 mark. And here come the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then sense of, again, they're putting more pucks at net. And then speaking of Victor Hedman, at the 1942 mark, he gets his 7th goal of the season. This one from Kucherov and Nick Paul. And now with just 8 seconds left in the period, what are you thinking, Razor? You're downstairs, you're watching, from ringside. What are you thinking at that point? Because I'm not saying the Bruins were holding on for dear life, but you all of a sudden said, holy smokes, they got to get their crap together, because this is now a one-shot game, in the sense of, if they make it 4-3, it's sphincteritis time.
Yeah, I was thinking, we're going to have a long – I was really, again, going back to the time of the game. I wanted 4-1 in the third. Everyone just dump it in back and forth, and let's go. Just roll it over and cruise. So I was thinking, all right, now it's a bit of a game. It's going to battle, and it's going to slow down a little bit. So but again, 4-0 leads are I know it feels like it can be tight, but 4-0's a long way to come back. So annoying to give that up late in the second, but that goes to the quantity of shots. And I talked a lot about it. I like the idea of going quantity, not quality in this league. I like the way Tampa Bay sets up their offense. They have a ton of skill. Of course, they have the 420 goal scorers, but they shoot the puck a lot.
They shoot it a lot.
They have a lot of chaos in front of nets, and it just continues to free things up. It makes it hard. It makes it tiring. And that's what they ended up doing a little bit, of just wearing them down a little in the second period. So I thought we saw a good example of quality over quantity, like Florida, like Tampa, and what the Bruins are trying to do and will be able to do when they get fully healthy on the back end. So they were in control still because of the way Swayman was playing, but certainly you knew you were going to have to grind it out a lot more than just cruise through the third.
I really like the way that, yes, you talk about they move the puck a lot. I like the way too that their forwards kind of layer up. They get into good areas in the offensive zone. No Braden Point, by the way, folks. If you didn't watch the game, he did not play for Tampa due to a meeting that he missed in the morning. It happens even to the best.
It does, folks. It happens in every team once a year.
Yes, it does. Everybody's got a kid who, misses the bus or oversleeps or something, whatever it is, it happens. All right, so 4-2 at the end of the second period. Again, shots 20-9. We go into the third period, and you're thinking, all right, yeah, here you go. Could be one more shot, might not. We'll talk about some of the stuff that happened, but I'll give you the goals. It's going to end up being a shorthanded goal. The Bruins take a penalty. It was Carlo at the 16:27 mark. I thought it was a very marginal tripping call.
I did
marginal
not like
at
that
best.
one. Yeah,
I'm saying that nicely. I didn't agree with it. I know you didn't. I know Rick didn't. I thought he's entitled to dive for that puck. I didn't think who was the player. It wasn't Eastman, was it? Hey, was it Hagel? I didn't think he dove. I think he got bumped, but Carlos allowed to dive for that puck too, as it was going off to his right in the D zone.
And they were going to get the puck. Tampa was still getting control of the puck off of that. It wasn't like it went down and was going to be a break, like a goal or something. I feel like that should be part of the the decision in that time. So
it didn't take away scoring chance. It also wasn't a change of possession. All right, regardless, it gets called. And in many ways, it probably helped the Bruins because off the next face-off, it ends up being a face-off won by Lindholm on his strong side. So it was the Bruins right wing side or the left wing offensive circle for Tampa. But it's a clean face-off win for Lindholm. He wins it strong, and Andrew Peeke gets it. And 188 feet, maybe 186, whatever it was, all the way down the ice. I mean, hard. And as I said to Barry in the postgame, it's like the old Scoro at the Chicago Stadium, the shootout, Scoro, where from the red line, you put the puck in, you win yourself $100 or a round trip on United Airlines is what their thing used to be and everything. And he put it right in the middle of the net. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Andrew Peeke's first goal as a Boston Bruin, Lindholm with the assist at the 16:30 mark. And then at the 16:56 mark, Pavel Zacha gets his, a little, not chaos, but a little kind of stuff, puck going around the neutral zone. Marchand and Zadorov with the assist, but Zacha ends up getting the left wing side and elevates it, gets it down the ice. Kucherov can't knock it down. And at the 16:56 mark, he puts in the 6th goal of the game for the Bruins, his 10th goal of the season. Your final 6-2 shots end up being 45 for the Tampa Bay Lightning, 24 to the Boston Bruins. Power plays Tampa 0-for-1, Bruins 0-for-2. All right, so that's the game recap. We go through all of that. I want to now get through some other stuff, but real quick, let's do our sponsors, and then we'll spend the last 10, 12 minutes or so going through this. The physical play, the injuries, Swayman, etc. A lot to get to quickly. Let's first talk about Graciano Construction. If you need something done in your house, big or small, you want to use the best, not just the best crew buildings, but also the best people. Doug Graciano and his construction crews, they do just that. They do things with pride and professionalism. They somehow make doing home projects less stressful and even somewhat fun, almost enjoyable. You give them a call at 508-330-7589 or go to gracianoconstruction.com. And you can have a discussion. You can get consultation, et cetera, for whatever you're looking to do. If you're in the Metro West area, the Boston area, they'll even go outside that as well. Check out gracianoconstruction.com. They are fantastic. All right, and we got a spark. What was this? What was the spark of this game? There was a lot of, I think, spark moments in this one. Do you, at first you could say, well, the Freddie fight, but was that the ultimate spark in this game? Was it, I don't know, was it the Fort goal? Was it other? Is it possible? Was it a Swayman save? I'm trying to lead you to something because I know there's a lot of them.
I think it was Wotherspoon's goal because Poitras' goal, it was just a little early in the game where people were still filing in a little bit. The Bruins have scored early against the Islanders, for instance, and then gave it up right away. Haven't been able to build on that lead.
Mhm.
Wotherspoon's goal was perfect timing. Everyone felt good, and it was entirely full. The building exploded. It's his first ever NHL goal, so I'll give it to Wotherspoon's second goal for the Bruins.
All right. Sparkshockey.com. Go check it out. Use the code BRU50, BRU50. Get $50 off. They also have other great deals on their site. Sparks Hockey, the home of the finest at-home skate sharpener. The Bruins got them. Hey, I was walking by the Tampa room talking to some of my buddies from the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have a Sparks machine sitting right out there too. Almost every pro team has at least one. So go check it out. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you. All right, that's the spark of the game. All right, let's get into here. Well, we already mentioned Poitras. He's up. Let's quickly touch on Callahan. Thought he was solid, a little over 14 minutes in this game. A defensive style defenseman. It's been a long road for Michael Callahan. 4 years at Providence College. Played at Roxbury Latin here locally, but goes to Providence College. Has a nice career there. More of a defensive defenseman. Plays, 3.5 years in the American League in Providence as well. So from Providence to Providence, short commute, so to speak. And then he finally gets his first call up. I can only imagine the Franklin, Mass native, how incredibly exciting it was for him and his family. I thought he played solid. I thought he comported himself well, Razor.
No question. And then, especially when the game's 4-0, it's like a perfect game for him to be able to make plays and feel good and get time and get a normal shift for like he was basically on a normal shift. He didn't play a lot at the end when things tightened up, but up until then he played a normal shift. So he didn't have to sit there for 12 minutes and wait to see and feel unsure when he went out and took that next shift. So that's really positive for when you're playing your first game. You're nervous and of course the excitement to see everybody after would probably, it's been a good dinner that he's probably still enjoying right now with everybody afterwards. And well deserved, a long trip and hung around long enough to get this opportunity, and can't take that one now from him.
No, good for him. Congratulations to Michael Callahan. He could end up being up for at least a couple of more games. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Jeremy Swayman faces 45 shots, gives up 2 goals. He wins both games. This is the second time in the last 15 years that a Bruins goalie has had back-to-back 40-plus save games. Olmark did this in 2021, December 2021. It only happened 9 times in Bruins history. This is from my good friend LG at the NHL Network, and I love this little thing right there. It's a great one. Second game in a row that Jeremy Swayman has really shown the high-level form that we saw a lot last year, and that made him, want to be the number one goalie. That not made him hold out, but wanted to hold out for the money that he felt he deserved. So what are we seeing from his game? We being you, the former NHL goalie. I'm seeing one thing. I'll say this as a total, whatever. I just feel like his rebound control has been excellent. I do, but that's a result of other stuff, Razor. So what are you seeing from his game?
Well, I think I get a lot of it. I've said this a lot, is circumstantial. Tonight was again, that third period was so slow. Tampa's putting everything on net. Every shot's coming in. So there's a lot of non-quality, not across the middle like it was in Dallas when you're giving up 8, or when you're down.
The first period though, he was really good.
No, he was good. He was good. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's different when your team gets up 2-0. I've said this a million times. When it's easier to play goalie when you're up 2-0 or 4-0 than it is when you're down 4-0. Games and saves and plays just get easier. And so I think he's piggybacked off of the big game the other night. The other one Saturday, that
was a harder game.
Much harder. And today you get the same kind of game where you're getting a ton of shots. A tip goal goes in, so you're like, no big deal. You didn't get any other tips that could have hit legs and could have bounced in, that have bounced in other games. Like there's been a ton of goals go in that were on the same wristers that we saw tonight. So that's just like goes to the same thing as David Pastrnak falling down. These guys are starting to get more confident, starting to feel like things are going their way, and they've worked through adversity. They've worked through the shitty stuff. And now this is our time. And I think for Jeremy, that's what he's feeling individually. and that just makes him bigger. It makes him more soft to that one less rebound, a period that he's not fighting off because he's not quite sure where the puck's coming from, to your point on rebound. So I would agree all of that stuff is better, or it looks better, but again, a lot of it's a circumstance in front too.
I felt like he handled the puck a lot less the last 2 games. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's probably, it's more because of the way the Bruins were
Circumstantial?
playing. Yeah,
Yeah.
just not many dumps, right? Like
Yeah.
there was
Okay.
more in zone time where they're, but again, it's you're gonna, that's like kind of, this is again, those 2 games are like the Claude Julien early 2000s where they'd give up 33, but Zdeno is just forcing everything on the outside, right? And they're just
Right.
wristers where this Vezina Trophy guys.
Right.
That's what these last 2 games have been.
Okay. Well, good stuff though from him.
Real good, real good.
The Bruins are practicing on Wednesday. Would they consider giving him a day off, you think, after that?
No, he'll grind.
He likes getting out there, yeah.
He'll have he can actually do some work tomorrow. So that's the beauty of it, because they'll have Thursday off, and then Friday will just be kind of a normal day.
Do you think he will play, given how hot he is, so to speak, or do you go to Korpisalo, the former center, in Ottawa? You got to get Jonas a game. You got to, that's the thing.
I'd imagine Monday afternoon at home, San Jose, but no, Ottawa playoffs, 4-point game. That's Swayman.
Originally, I thought it would be Korpisalo, but then when you look at the circumstances of where the standings are right now,
yeah.
And Ottawa's playing better. They've won their last 3 after going, I think it was like 1 win in the previous 6. They're now.
Yeah, they've got a young guy playing goal real well.
Yeah, what's his
Kingston
name?
Frontenac, Levi
Merlinian. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. They've had Olmark is out, folks. You haven't been watching the Ottawa Senators. He's out with, I think it's back issues, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about there. So interesting. One other, you mentioned Pasta playing well. One other nugget versus Tampa in Boston in the last 19 games, 16 goals against Tampa at home. So he's got that. Let's talk about the physical stuff in this game, because it did get physical. It got real physical. This is a great Tampa and Boston's a great, more old school matchup, I think, than like Boston Toronto. Boston Toronto is incredible rivalry.
And
There's
Florida.
no doubt about it. And what?
And Florida.
Florida.
Tampa. But go ahead and I'll explain why I say that.
Well, I think that, there's a lot of respect between the 2 franchises, and the mentality. John Cooper's got old school in him, and he lets his players do. They're not what I would call a real fighting type of team, but they participated. They were happy to participate in this one. They have attitude. They've got confidence. They've won cups. This core group knows what it takes to win cups. They know what these type of games are about as well, and they respected the fact that this had to be a physical game, at least in the eyes of the Bruins. And I thought that brought a good vibe. And this is just a good, I know we're not getting back to 1980s, 90s, early 2000 hockey, but I felt that this had more of a feel to that.
Yeah, and again, the score lent itself to that, right? The 4-0 allows everything to kind of take place that needed to. But the point is Florida doesn't do it this way. They're chippy and ratty and do stuff behind the whistles, and the Kachucks trying to jump on goalies. Like Tampa,
Bennett hitting, elbowing guys in the
and
high,
Bennett punch in the face on every body check he makes. These guys just, if you challenge them, they're like, yeah, I'll fight you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll fight you. Like, it's just very, very simple and to your point, old school, and very similar to the Bruins, where you'd rather lose a fight than turn a fight down kind of mentality. And the dressing room, the culture is that as well, where we don't care. As long as you show you care about this team and want to win, then you're part of this and you're respected. So that's the vibe I get from them watching them. And it is very similar to Bruins and very enjoyable for most hockey people, because that's what we love about the game is it's showing up.
Well, just like the Bruins have history with Toronto in the playoffs, obviously, and Florida now, albeit not a great history the last 2 years. If you're a Bruins fan, they have history with Tampa in the playoffs, and playoffs are where you breed these rivalries. So good stuff at the very least from those three opponents. But I really like the Tampa one. Speaking of fights, it's 4-0 in the game. The 7:37 mark of the second period after a defensive zone faceoff. Trent Frederick recognizes that Emil Liljeberg is on the ice. I hope I'm saying the name, giving it, the right, it's due, the Norwegian Liljeberg. I think that's how you pronounce it. Regardless, the defenseman's out on the ice. Freddie goes right at him, and he gives, it's timed well. And the kid Liljeberg looks for where the puck is. He kind of waits. He comes back into the neutral zone, the center ice area, and they drop the gloves. It was a hell of a fight. As fights go, that was as Freddie's fourth fight of the year, and he got him a couple of good ones. But that kid is strong as an ox. He's got that natural strength to him. And while he's not a big fighter by any stretch, he's a young guy in the NHL per se with regard to games played, etc. This kid isn't afraid. I give him full marks for standing in there. He gave some too, but Freddie, I thought, did a beautiful job in that one.
Yeah, for sure. Just the point of standing in there, knowing, especially as the score got 3-0, 4-0. All right, I'm gonna have to do this at some point. Standing up for it, both benches appreciated what both of those players did. Freddie helping a team or standing up for a teammate, quote unquote, and then the cliches of this kind of I don't communicate it well. I do because it bothers me, some of these cliches that we have in our game. But again, well respected from both of them. Both guys did what they needed to do to stay in the league.
And there's another scrap in the game. Zadorov, who he was involved in this one. You could tell that he had a burr. He had a burr going in the saddle, to borrow a Jackism, right? He was looking to be involved. He ends up getting into it with Eric Chernak. It was a hit on Marchand, I believe, away from the puck, right, that he didn't like. And so he was right there for Marchand. By the way, I saw when Marchand scored, both Pastrnak and Marchand celebrated together. So maybe they like each other again.
That might be okay.
Maybe, just maybe. But Zadorov gets into a fight with Chernak. They were yapping at each other. It's funny, Chernak's a big man now. Everybody looks smaller to Nikita Zadorov, but Chernak's a big man. He does not scrap a lot. He does not. He plays that very steady game. He's got a nasty side to him. He's a battler, but he doesn't fight a lot.
No, he doesn't. But again, that goes to he knew he was He knew he was chasing Marchand, and he knew he had to. All right, I've done it enough. I've gone after him enough. I've got to pay the piper here, and we'll do this. And again, that's the way it should be, and that's why I appreciate both of these teams.
Had a big hit in the game too, partner. Darren Radish, defenseman, comes over to the left side. Cole Koepke's coming up and swooping up the ice, reaching for the puck. He's a lefty on his offside, and it's just off the wall. And when he reaches down towards the puck, Radish times it, catches him with a heavy hit. Koepke was down for a couple of minutes and did not return to the game, went off. The officials conferred. They went to review, and after review, this is the process that they, I'll give some crap here and there to the NHL for certain things. This is the good process now for these type of plays. You go to the review and they review it for a major, and they came back with no penalty. That doesn't mean, by the way, that the play is not going to be reviewed by the NHL Department of Player Safety to take a look at, because I know it, that it is. What are they going to look at? I mean, where was the main point of contact, not the first point of contact? There definitely was head contact, but they're going to say, was that the main point of contact? They're also going to say, was head contact avoidable there? That doesn't mean that there is head contact, but it wasn't the main and it wasn't avoidable, he might not get anything from the league. They may also look at, did they change the plane? This is where I wonder, was Koepke reaching forward long enough to where Radish should have changed his route there or his point of contact? All these things it's kind of like goalie interference. Sometimes you go frame by frame, and I think one thing and yet another thing happens. But the officials in game, looking at it with the situation, said no penalty, not even a major, no penalty. Did you see? I mean,
I thought that
anything
was
more to
fine.
describe?
No, that was the right call. I thought I want that hit in the game.
Yeah, and I think that I think that they're going to look at it and they're going to say, yes, again, there was head contact, but it wasn't like he picked the head. It wasn't targeting the head. And there was probably a little bit change from, when I mean change, meaning reaching by Koepke for the puck. And so the head is a little bit lower. And I think it ends up being a heavy hit with a very bad or an unfortunate result. An unfortunate result, I think, is the way it is. The college game, and I think you and I have talked about this before, and sometimes I actually lean this way, even though I love big hits. Every once in a while, Razor, I know that I don't want it to be the college game per se, but they call head contact on everything. So to protect the players, sometimes, yeah, I kind of lean that way. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. But on the other hand, I didn't think there was anything intentional here. I didn't. And that's where I think that's where I'm kind of going around in a circle. That's where I didn't think there was anything intentional. I don't know if it was also the main point of contact when it was all said and done. There was first contact, but I don't know if it was the main point of contact. Is that a fair description?
Yeah. I want that in the game. I hate the picks. I hate going through the head from a different angle, but if it's straight on and it's at some point your head's going to get hit too. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So again, the Bruins weren't up in arms about that. And no, Brad, no one lost their mind over it. I think everyone realizes that's a good hit.
It's going to happen, unfortunately. A very physical, at times, very heavy duty, violent game. Right. And I get it. I'm with you when it's all, I kept looking at it. And I go through the process in the head that we learned from the NHL. And I'm like, I don't think he'll get anything, but then again, I thought that Liljeberg would get one game for the cross check to the head, and he didn't. So I'm wrong on that. All right, no Charlie McAvoy. We mentioned that before. I mean, I don't know how long he's going to be out. The good news is that Lindholm is skating. He's still Hampus, but he's still a little ways away. So this is going to be a real interesting time, Razor, for this Boston Bruins club without those two guys in the lineup.
Yeah, hopefully not too much longer. He can't. It's hard, and you're really putting duct tape on things when your two best defensemen are not in the lineup in this league. It's difficult. They did a great job tonight. 1-0 without those guys. You want to hopefully keep that under 5 games where you're not having those guys in your lineup.
All right. Anything else that I've missed that we should touch on real quick? Anything that's that's jumping out?
No, we'll just busy day, lots going on. So, and all kind of turned up Bruins way this day, which was good.
Yeah. Final numbers: Pavel Zacha, 1 goal, 2 assists. He was a +3. Andrew Peeke, 1 goal, 1 assist. He was a +4. Brad Marchand, 1-1. David Pastrnak, 1 goal, 2 assists. Just 4 shots on goal, but made the most, obviously, the one that he got. 4 hits from Nikita Zadorov, also 4 hits from Morgan Geekie. Faceoffs ended up being even. John Beecher actually was 11 for 18, so that was good. Anthony Cirelli was 17 for 28 for his team. But again, by the way, faceoffs I thought were huge from Elias Lindholm. He won some key ones in the third period when they mattered most, so that was good on him. All right, that's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Razor, I only think you yawned 3 times.
No, I'm cooking now. 12 a.m. Yeah,
you're ready to go. I am too. I got early radio, and then a flight. Quick short flight down to NHL Network. I know you got some other stuff going as well. And holy smokes, are we doing a show after Saturday? I can't remember. We'll update if we are. I can't remember right now.
Yeah, we got to figure that one out.
We have a show coming out on Friday, Thursday or Friday, special guest that we just recorded yesterday.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, that just goes to show that I forgot. So we got that coming out later this week too. All right, Bruins win this one 6-2. They've won 2 in a row. They've got Ottawa on Saturday. We'll update you on if we're going to do a show after that game or not. Regardless, everybody, Bruins win again. Swayman looking stellar. Bruins scoring some goals. Feeling good. Enjoy it. while you got it right now, because you know what, this season for every team is up and down and all around. It's been crazy so far. So have yourself a really nice hot cup of coffee listening to this one.